Hello everybody, welcome to another single roundup. Today we're going to be going over this week's singles. This video is a little bit delayed, so I do apologise for that. I have been quite busy this week, and I also have got another album review to post before we get the Friday rotation. Well, obviously, because new stuff comes on Friday, and I also got to do album of the month as well for the stuff I didn't get to talk about. So, gonna be a little bit hectic, but yeah, here we go. Single roundup, and we're gonna be going over my pretty much just all the singles I've been keeping up to date with and giving my opinion on them. So, start off, we have 21 Pilots Drum Show. I really enjoyed this one, to be honest, and I'm not the biggest fan of 21 Pilots. I dabbled with Vessel, Trench, even Clancy I reviewed last year. While I thought it was good, I didn't think it was anything incredible from the band. But Breach is already giving a more promising start. I really enjoyed the contract. It kind of has this Linkin Park sort of sound to it, but it has a really nice polish to it. But Drum Show is just easily the better of the two singles. The energy's great, it's very catchy, and it's just honestly nice again to just hear them put a little bit of a kind of a classic rock sound into the thing, because normally it's focusing more on hip hop and alt rock, but it's nice to kind of get more of a rocky direction. I think this one's pretty good. Really enjoyed this one. Pendulum Guiding Lights featuring AWOLNATION. I will talk a bit about this one on the Pendulum review. It is pretty decent. It's got this kind of traditional hard rock sound, which I quite like. The drum and bass elements just are also, again, it just feels like Pendulum doing what Pendulum does. But I feel like Aaron Bruno from AWOLNATION could have been utilised a little bit better. I feel like they shoehorned him to the end to give it kind of this heavy, heavy impact towards the end of the song to kind of build up the aggression of it. But I just don't feel like it really flowed in as well. I kind of wish there was a bit more of a kind of better climax, because repeating the same lines and just making the instrumental a bit heavier didn't quite make it as interesting. Guiding Light ended up being one of my least favourites of the single, despite I like Pendulum and despite I like AWOLNATION. So yeah, I think it's just okay. I just think the mixing's also a bit off as well, so you can't hear Aaron as well as you normally could. But speaking of Aaron Bruno, we have the Barbarians of California, Modern Fashion. This is his other project, one that I think he's focusing more on as of now, because AWOLNATION looks like it could be coming to a close, but Barbarians of California has this more punky, alt hard rock sound to it, and I love it. I feel like this generally has a lot of fury, fun, and I honestly think this is definitely the direction I kind of prefer Aaron Bruno to go into. He really gets to utilise his more angry, unclean vocals here, and I think the song as a whole just sounds pretty good, so it's nice to see him do something different than kind of sticking to a more electronic mainstream sound, so I appreciate kind of getting a bit more of that for him. Electric Callboy Still Waiting featuring Frank Zummo from Sum 41. So this was pretty much something I feel Electric Callboy has chemistry with Sum 41, but the biggest thing that I can really point out for that is when the Electric Callboy drummer left this year. For the remainder of that tour, they had Frank Zummo from Sum 41 be the replacement drummer for the tour, and I feel like this kind of got the band closer to the members, and it was nice to see Frank Zummo even coming back for this cover to do a Sum 41 song. And I think while it is really good and it sounds pretty nice, the electronical aspect to this song is pretty interesting. I still feel like the pop punk direction always worked better, and I think it's one of those cases, like most covers, the single original version is always the stronger one, but it's still good. Silverstein with Autopilot featuring Cassadee Pope. This one's another fun Silverstein song coming for the upcoming Pink Moon album, the second part to the double album that originally had Auto Bloom, which I reviewed that one when it came out. I'll be reviewing Pink Moon as well when that comes out, and I'm honestly looking forward to it. I feel like it is a bit more mixed than Auto Moon, because I feel like some of the singles were fine, not that great, but then this one's probably the best of the ones we had so far. Well, debatably, because Negative Space was quite good as well, but Drain for Blood wasn't quite my cup of tea. But yeah, this one's pretty good, I liked it. Dayseeker, Shapeshift, I like the 3 singles we had. Pale Moonlight, this one, while it does kind of feel a bit more basic for the band, Creature in the Black Night is a softer song that does build up with the energy, and I think it's decent as well, but I don't think this is Dayseeker really pushing out their best stuff, but Shapeshift definitely is. The energy is a lot stronger. I feel like the instrumentation's really fun on this one. Rory's vocals are definitely my favourite, and it's nice to hear him go a lot heavier on this track as well. Shapeshift's great, got some good breakdown on there, and yeah, I definitely prefer Shapeshift to the other 2, which are still fine, but easily the best of 3 singles. The Halo Effect, If You Were Here. So this is another cover on the list. I don't think many people know this one, but if you are familiar with the Swedish alt-rock band Kent, who have been one of the biggest things to happen in Sweden, loads of platinum hits, loads of #1 albums, even loads of #1 songs. Well, most of their songs are in Swedish, but they did do an English version of 2 of their albums, and one of the versions is actually this song, which you can get on one of their bigger records. But Halo Effect did a really good cover on it. I feel like they managed to keep the kind of gothic, darker sound to it while incorporating the kind of the melodic death metal instrumentation to it. It's definitely a softer track for them, but it's really good, and I feel like if this was on the record, blimey, that would have been pretty nice to see. I love this one. Soulkeeper, Go Ask Alice. This is a mathcore band playing with some really original, kind of some punchy stuff. I wouldn't say it's the most original mathcore sound out there, but it's very punchy. It just absolutely goes straight into it and doesn't hold back. I love this one. We Came as Romans, One by One. I'll be reviewing this album fully. That's the other one I've got to review. I'm going to be honest, One by One is not really a track I enjoyed. I thought it was a bit generic, and something that we've heard from the band with Dark Bloom already, but I honestly feel like Dark Bloom was a stronger concept. The chorus is fine, but I think that's the strongest point with it. I just didn't really like this song. Tallah, we have Undone by Fate. Tallah's upcoming record seems very interesting. We've got a lot of variety, and I honestly think the ideas they have are interesting. This is a very fun single, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the album works as a whole, because all the singles have been very interesting, to say the least. Devil Wears Prada, Where the Flowers Never Grow. So this was released on their little EP of the same name, I believe, unless it's just Flowers, I can't remember, but this would also be on an actual record coming up in November, so that'll be nice to see. The band generally shifted away from metalcore with this. Instead, it's definitely more on the post-hardcore emo side, and I'm very surprised by that, because I've always associated with this band with metalcore, but I honestly think it worked here. It's definitely got the kind of energy that you'd expect from a lot of the post-hardcore bands. I feel like the writing generally fits in with bands like Seosin and Thursday, at least, when it comes to that. But yeah, this honestly has a lot of energy I like. Good production, good riffs, good uncleans. I like this one a lot. The Pretty Reckless, For I Am Deaf. Yeah, this one was pretty underwhelming. I just felt like this is a bland, the Pretty Reckless song, and I don't think Taylor's vocals are generally the best here either. It's just not that good in my opinion. Citizen Soldier, Too Loud. I respect the absolute shit out of this band, because I mean, to be able to write a lot of songs about your time in a psychiatric ward, especially since you had been pushed to the edge and attempted suicide, it's generally nice to see the lead singer's kind of progression in healing with this, and a lot of songs have come out since then. And I think my issue with Citizen Soldier is they can write some really good songs for sure, but they just write so many, and there's pretty much an album every year. If not, there was one year where they released 2 albums as well. And we got another album coming this year. This is a single for it, but I'm not really feeling it, to be honest. Like, I respect them, but I just find this very generic, and it doesn't really do anything we haven't heard before. At least with ICU, I felt like they generally had some of the best writing and some of the best ideas in the game, but I haven't really felt there's been a Citizen Soldier album the same quality as ICU. I feel like they've slowly progressed to getting there, and then with Icarus onwards it kind of devolved, and it's unfortunate, but this is another song I'm not a fan of. Motion City soundtrack, Your Days Are Numbered. I just found this painfully boring, and I just don't think the song really helps when it uses the instrumentals to try and elevate the song from just being slow to put in a little bit more of their kind of standard sound in it, but it just felt very bland and didn't really offer much. It's kind of disappointing. Gore, we have Wrath with that. Yeah, this honestly just feels like a Sleep Token song, especially the first minute, and then it kind of builds in the instrumentation with the heavy chugging gent guitars that Sleep Token use, but then it kind of takes the spirit box approach, not because the lead singer is female, but I feel like the song tries to lean into kind of the more ambient, darker sound that Spirit Box is pretty much put in tracks like Sun Killer or Ride the Wave from Tsunami Sea. I feel like they are kind of incorporating a good mixture of the two, and from the tracks I've heard from Gore, I feel like those two bands are easily the biggest inspirations. Maybe slap a little bit of Deftones in there as well, but that's kind of the Gore sound to a T. But I think it sounds pretty good, to be honest. I mean, it's not the most unique thing out there, but hey, at least they managed to do Sleep Token in a way I feel like people would prefer. As I do like Sleep Token, I know a lot of people don't, so it's kind of nice that they're not getting flack for having that as kind of an inspiration. EarlyRise with Paper Empire. Alt-rock and alt-metal blend that is very unique and very creative. It's got a very well constructed kind of just method to it, and it's weird because it generally feels quite different from all the stuff I've heard. I love the way the instrumental just kind of brings the guitars out. They have this very heavy presence but doesn't quite go too deep into it, and it kind of reminds me of bands like Mew or Porcupine Tree, where they're not really metal bands but they have metal guitars to alleviate kind of this heavier direction or just like heavier contrast to the more melodic aspect of the bands, and I think this is another band doing it pretty well. Yeah, never really heard of EarlyRise, but I quite like this one, to be honest. It's very fun. And fun fact, they did a cover of Narcissistic Cannibal by Korn, and that's kind of their most streamed song. Very interesting Korn song to cover, but I'm not gonna really complain. Extortionist, Cycle of Sin, I didn't get to reviewing their album last year, and from what I've heard with the Devoid of the Devoid EP, I quite like that. I think all 4 songs were quite fun, and when I did eventually get to listening to the Extortion album last year, I didn't really like it that much. I felt it was kind of all over the place, and the clean vocals kind of brought it down a bit. Now, Cycle of Sin doesn't really bring clean vocals in, but it just feels like a lot of metalcore bands are doing the same sound this is doing. Nothing original, nothing that interesting. While it does sound fine, but it just really isn't a song I'd really want to go back into. It's just okay. Greyhaven, we have Cemetery Sun. It sounds pretty well made for just kind of a standard hard rock song, but I'm not really that big on it. I think this one just kind of felt a bit unmemorable, just didn't really stand out to me much, but maybe with the album that comes out in October, it'll probably work better. Maybe I'll be used to it then, but as of now, I'm just not that big on it. So yeah, that's pretty much all the tracks. Now, I am going to give track of the week to a song that's not on here because it's not a single. Similar to last week, I did that with Chevelle, but this week it's happening with Deftones' Metal Dream. Metal Dream is probably my favourite non-album single on the record. Not my favourite track, as I still think Milk of the Madonna is easily a highlight. But Metal Dream I really enjoyed. It's just got an absolute amazing refrain, and I think it's generally just an underrated banger of the record. So many good songs to pick from as well, like Ecdysis, or Cut Hands, or even tracks like Infinite Source, which has been growing on me. So many good songs on that record, but yeah, I had to give it to Metal Dream. Otherwise, if it wasn't Metal Dream, it would have been either 21 Pilots with Drum Show, or probably EarlyRise with Paper Empire. So that's my tracks. Hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next video.